So, as I'm going to let Melissa share a little bit about her story as
Oh,
we.
sure. So, quick shout out to Sean Gretsch. Thank you for making this webinar possible today. And yet again, welcome all of you from all around the world. We're going to take you on a journey and share a little bit about our story now. And we'll look into ASEA's technology, profound technology, talk a little bit about the business model, and provide information for you that you may have not had previously. So if you've got any questions, please put them in the Q&A box. We'll stop the well, we don't have this one recorded, but we'll answer them at the end. So my journey goes back, and perhaps some of you can relate to this in aspects. It goes back to my first corporate career. I graduated with a science degree and I went into the pharmaceutical industry. And there's definitely a place for pharmaceuticals. My personal experience was I really had never been raised with that model in mind. I'd been more in terms of taking a proactive approach to my health, but I was on my own at a really young age. There was no safety net, no security, no family or any money to fall back on. So I took this job, and it was a lot of an ego involved at the time. I had a company car and, like I said, early 20s. I found myself a couple of years into the job in intensive care in hospital with a couple of conditions that were life-threatening and affected my brain. Or something I'd picked up in a surgery somewhere, I guess. Anyway, the nurse at the time wanted to administer me with a drug I was selling. I knew everything about that drug and knew, given how sick I was, that if I had said yes, I may not have made it out of that hospital ward. So that was an inflection point in my life. That was a crisis. That was a time where I needed to make a decision as to who I am, what my integrity is worth to me, and what I'm going to do from this point on. So when I left the hospital, I handed back the keys to the company car, realised I couldn't live that life anymore, and I embarked on business partnership, which ended up in a series of chiropractic clinics. I loved that, totally enjoyed the freedom of being self-employed, but felt quite trapped by long hours in an office, lost the sort of autonomy of being outside a lot, and realised there's so much more I can give the world. So I went back to university to do my MBA so I could find the business model for me. And I wasn't really making a lot of progress in that regard, but a patient in the clinic approached me and said about this business model, and that was in 1999. And I was already doing word of mouth selling all the time. The only opportunity in Australia back then, 20 odd years ago, for chiropractors was there was no advertising allowed, just a name in yellow pages. Long story short, the entire practices were built up by word of mouth. That was the lifeline of the entire business. I was already doing network marketing. I was already building that way. And when you add value and create a great service, people will come. So I finished my MBA and I embarked full-time on this profession, which I've been in since then. And we are just so fortunate to be in a situation where at the right time we came across ASEA. We'll share more about our story with what was happening in that moment. But looking back now, particularly with where we're at today, we're so grateful that we made the decision we made to change our lives and live more in alignment with our values, who we are, and help people.
Yeah, and what a profound story to have that crisis, that defining moment to change the direction, to change the trajectory of your life. And we all have those kind of moments, those kind of experiences that happen. In fact, I would dare say that many of you could be having one of those moments right now as we're going through some how do we even describe it, interesting times. And so you might be wondering what's the deal with this wagon wheel that's here. What I'd like to do is just have you evaluate kind of where you're at on a scale of 1 to 10 in your life. And as I go through this, I just want to share with you, Melissa shared kind of where she was at in her background. Previously, before being involved with ASEA, I'd had a very successful track record with another company. It was a network marketing company, and that company lost its way. I'm not going to go back before that. I'll keep this kind of short and sweet, but that company had lost its way. So even though there was good money coming in, the values of the company just didn't resonate with my values, and I just didn't feel confident with talking with other people. We'd also just moved to Australia, and we were really in a major crisis place, wondering what were we going to do. We loved the benefits of this profession, and we loved the idea of being able to help other people. But because we had had some challenges, we were a little bit um, disgruntled, I guess, with the industry. And also the fact is that we had gone through some major challenges with legal challenges that just dragged on and on and on. So the nightmare, we just felt stuck. I don't know if any of you have ever felt stuck in your life, but that's where we felt. So if we kind of look at this on a scale of 1 to 10, and again, I'd like you to just evaluate where you're at personally in your life, because the idea is to take a snapshot and say, where could I use more balance in my own personal life? In terms of career, like I said, there were some things that were good, but it had really changed. The management of that company had changed, which didn't feel like it was our home anymore. Financially, the reality is we actually had a pretty good income still rolling in from that, but we knew that was changing quickly, and we weren't happy. So when you're not happy and when you're dealing with challenges, sometimes it's hard to really stay in the place of personal growth. And our health was pretty good, even though there was a lot of stress. This would be the example of why it wouldn't have been higher, is because of the immense amount of stress that we were going through in our life, which was causing some family challenges. But fortunately for me, I married the lady of my dreams, and so we've had a good relationship. But all these stresses and so forth can affect that too, and I'm sure that you could all relate. When you've got drama happen in your life, when you got challenges, sometimes you just don't, particularly, I guess I'm referring to the legal challenges, you just don't want to talk with other people. It seems like there's nothing positive to talk about. And so that's where we felt kind of stuck, certainly where I felt stuck, and attitude. The point of this will is, if you were going to make this, if you're going to roll this wheel down the road in terms of my snapshot of what life used to look like, that wouldn't roll very smooth. It'd be a pretty bumpy ride. And so obviously we needed more. We needed more growth and more balance in our life in many areas. And I would dare say that you do too. I would say, pick which 2 areas of your life could you use more in. Is it finances? Is it personal growth? Whatever it is. And I'm just going to suggest to you that to keep an open mind, because we go through this presentation. I really believe, like us, that ASEA could be perhaps a vehicle that could help you to create more balance in your life, physically, financially, or whatever way that you're looking at. And it truly is a chance to rewrite your story.
That we've mentioned throughout this presentation. Thing is, in order to do so, nobody else can help you change. You need to make the decision and dig deep and rewrite your story and decide what it's going to look like for you, and stick to that with unwavering conviction, because you deserve it. And did you want to share our story now?
Yeah. So look, I started off with this will. Let me just tell you how life has changed, because this can truly make a difference. It certainly has made a difference in our life. We feel so blessed to be associated with ASEA. Not only the products, but the people, the integrity, the ethos, the culture of the company is second to none. Financially, life is pretty good. We are very, very blessed. The only reason it's not a 10 is because there's always room for growth. Same here. We're involved with a group of people that want to be more, that want to grow, that want to become more. And health, same thing. It's doing great. Family, things are going great. Relationship is fantastic. Social life, again, just working with wonderful people, and attitude. So look, there's always room to grow, to be more, to do more. But I can tell you that this wheel is certainly rolling down the road a whole lot smoother than that first wheel that we showed you. So if you can use more in your life in any one of these areas, maybe ASEA can be a vehicle for you too. We certainly want to thank you for joining us today. This is a little bit what life is like now. We've been able to achieve the Millionaires Club with ASEA, earning over $1 million in US dollars in the last 4.5 years. And we've traveled to some and got out and enjoy life. In fact, one of the things that's beautiful is we can work from home. We can work anywhere we want. And so, and yes, this lovely lady here is one heck of a motorcycle rider. We love getting out and enjoying activities where we're having some fun and spending time with family and friends. And I'm going to let you wrap up with this.
Vertus, for anyone who's had an opportunity to meet him, and if you haven't, we hope that you will down the track. He is a visionary, and he says we are all at the start of something with great purpose, and right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. So we've had mouse issues this morning. We can begin influencing the future. We can change the world. So regardless of where you're at in life right now, take the time to write out how you see your future going. A seer may or may not be the vehicle for you. All that we know is we are so glad when we were in a position of really, really high need that we made the right decision. We picked the right company, thankfully, with the right people and a technology that there's no competition to. And more importantly, the people that we've now been so fortunate to get to know and be introduced to have been life-changing. You won't find a culture that a seer has anywhere else in our profession. So if you're looking to make some changes, we encourage you, please get together, as I mentioned earlier, with the person who invited you on this webinar, get your questions answered and make the right decision for you based on your truth and where you're at. So
Absolutely. The help, the support, it's all here.
yeah.
Look
Thank
forward.
you so much for joining us.